The Elder Scrolls Online 2025 roadmap is here, and we just got a ton of new info, including about the new subclassing system. ZeniMax was kind enough to invite me to get an early preview of the ESO Direct, as well as a Q&A session where we got to dig into a lot of the new features coming. So let's break it all down. First off, there will be a new content pass. So instead of having a chapter that's purchased and the smaller DLCs only available in the Crown Store or through ESO Plus, the new content pass will cover all the content for the year. So for $49.99 in US dollars, you get the quarter 1 and 3 dungeon packs, the quarter 2 and 4 story DLCs, and full access to the Writhing Wall event. And I'll dig into each of those a bit more throughout the video. Now, the first thing I noticed is this format looks pretty much the same as what we're already used to. So studio director Matt Fyroor did say this year is a transition between last year's chapter model and next year, which will be more not like a chapter. This year we already had content in the pipeline, so we're kind of doing this bridge year, but we're calling it a content pass just so we can put some extra things in it and get people ready for what's coming next. There are also some questions in the Q&A about how this will affect ESO Plus. So you will still get the dungeons with ESO Plus, but not the new zone. So that's pretty similar to what we've had in the past with chapters. However, since you now get the dungeons with the content pass, it's really not as nice of a perk with ESO Plus as it was before. So they did say they are coming up with some new ways to incentivize having ESO Plus. The new zone coming will be the Island of Solstice. This will be split into two halves by a Wall of Souls. So the western half will be accessible in June in Update 46, and the eastern portion will be in the final quarter of the year. The story will focus on the Worm Cult and will be a continuation of the original main storyline. So lots of characters will be returning for this. There's already a prologue quest available to get started on the live servers. Now, as I mentioned, in between these two releases, there will be this Writhing Wall event. They said that this will be the biggest server event ever, and it will be in real time. Players will be getting camps set up, fending off attacks on those camps, and planning their siege to bring the Writhing Wall down. Now, this activity will vary by mega server, so different platforms will move at a different rate through these activities. Game director Rich Lambert said in the Q&A that this wall event is bigger than anything we've ever built before in terms of event and scale and size and the production values that went into it. Seems like something quite different for ESO and should really bring the community together. There will also be a new 12-person trial coming in June called Ossein Cage. This is a gigantic vault in Cold Harbor that holds a powerful Daedric relic that absorbs pain and suffering and transforms that into power. Molag Bal's Daedra want to get their hands on it, and you as the player need to infiltrate the vault and destroy the relic before the Daedra can get to it. We don't have a lot of info on the trial yet or the rewards, but Rich Lambert did say there is a fight with multiple bosses moving between platforms and doing crazy cool things. And he also really hyped up the team working on it, talking about how they continue to blow them away with what they come up with each year. All right, now we'll talk about the thing I'm most excited about, the big feature coming in June, subclassing. This allows you to swap out skill lines from your base class and swap in skill lines from other classes in the game. So this will be free as a part of the base game, so all players will have access to it, and you will still need the DLC classes if you want to use those skill lines. So let's break down how it'll work. All characters, once reaching level 50, will have subclassing opened up to them. When choosing your skill lines from other classes, if you've already gone through the process of leveling the skill line to 50 on that original class, you automatically have access to it as a subclass line. Now, you will need to level up the subclass skills just like normal skills, but the good news is that all your skills and progression with this is account-wide. So once you've leveled them up, you can use them on your other characters without needing to level the skills again. And to be clear, these are the full skill lines, including the passives. None of the abilities are in a nerfed form. You get full access to the actual skill line. And then for those that don't have the skill lines unlocked on other characters, maybe you've never leveled that class up before, you can go through a series of quests and train those skill lines as an alternative to leveling an alt. So let's go through a few rules to clarify how the new subclassing system works. Rule number 1, you must always have at least one skill line from your original class. You can trade away 1 or 2 of your class lines, but not all 3. Rule number 2, you can't take 2 subclass skill lines from the same class. So for example, as a sorcerer, I could not have 1 sorcerer and 2 dragonite skill lines. I could have 2 sorcerer and 1 dragonite skill line, or 1 sorcerer, 1 dragonite, and 1 templar skill line, for example, but no specific subclass can outnumber the main class. I think this is pretty fair as it still gives a good reason to play a certain class. For example, if you want to use puncturing sweeps and radiant oppression, these are on 2 different skill lines, so the templar is still the only class that has access to both of those at the same time. And then for rule number 3, each subclass skill will take 2 skill points instead of 1, so they just wanted a little more investment from the player for these than the original skills. And then rule number 4, class sets and scribing class masteries will still be limited to the primary class. So overall, it looks like each class will have 55 unique combinations that only that specific primary class will have access to. And this is because only that primary class could have all 3 lines or 2 lines from their original kit. Then beyond that, there are 405 additional combinations of skill lines that every class will share access to. So each class will end up with 460 combinations, and in total there will be 790 unique combinations of class skill lines. And then if you count in the limited interactions on top of that with class sets and scribing class masteries, there are a total of 3,220 unique class combos. So this is absolutely nuts. I can't wait to see what people come up with. I can't wait to see what I come up with. In the Q&A, someone did ask about concerns with power level, and Rich Lambert responded, "Power level will go up some, but we're fine with where it is. We haven't done anything to dramatically nerf things or reduce a lot of power from abilities. We want this to be fun, and we want the players to experiment and make cool things." And I really hope that's how it turns out. One of my big concerns with this is them going through and nerfing stuff. For those that do want to stick with their original class skill lines, they'd end up just getting a lot of nerfs for no good reason when they weren't overperforming. So I'm glad to hear that that's not what they're wanting to do here. I know some people probably won't be a big fan of this new system, but personally, I love the idea of subclassing. I think it fits way better with the original Elder Scrolls games, and I also think this could open the door to ZOS for developing some single class skill lines. Having to do 3 skill lines for a class is quite a lot, but now they could just do a single line for something like Bard, for example, and then all characters could have access to that through subclassing. But overall, I'm really hyped to start putting together some different setups and testing out the possibilities. A few other things we found out about that are worth mentioning. They did discuss a new welcome back feature for players. This looks like a system that's designed to help players pick back up and remember what they were working on and understand what is new to the game since they left. Susan Kath, the executive producer, said in the Q&A, "It's tailored to the individual who is coming in. It's not just a one-size-fits-all. It's a quest-based, reward-driven experience." So I'm not sure what that means exactly. She didn't add in much more, and Rich Lambert just said that it's player testable. Of course he did. So we'll have to wait and see what this is all about, but it sounds like a great new addition to help ease returning players back in. They also mentioned some UI modernization for PC that they're working on. They said the PC UI was designed a good bit before console and hasn't really held up as well, so they'll be working on updating that to fit in better with modern gaming. They also mentioned being very happy with the recent Cyrodiil performance test, and we can expect the next test version of that sometime in Update 46 after its release in June. But we don't have to wait until June to check out Update 46. It will be on the PTS on Monday, April 14th. So as usual, I'll be doing an in-depth breakdown of the patch notes over on Twitch as soon as they're live, so make sure to follow me over there. And subscribing here on YouTube is always appreciated, so make sure to do that if you want to stay up to date on everything. But let me know what y'all think. Are you excited for the new zone, the subclassing feature coming in June? Is there something else here that has your attention more? Let me know down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Big thanks to those that have supported with Patreon and YouTube memberships. And a special thanks to these folks here. I really couldn't keep doing this without you. I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye.